Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Jay, and this is our 2 cents, where we talk everything boxing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. In today's live, we will be discussing, is Shakur moving in the wrong direction? And what's up with all this Norman Ennis beef? But before we do that, make sure you punch that like and subscribe button. And make sure you let me know and drop it below your 2 cents as I go throughout the live. Let me see who we got up in here already. What's going on? Don't mess with Texas. All things teach in the building. What's going on? How was everybody's weekend? How was everybody's weekend? Did anybody watch the fight last night? Did anybody watch the Floyd Mayweather exhibition fight? I didn't. So hopefully somebody can tell me about it, how it go. I think I might have been scrolling on YouTube and seeing he got a knockout or something. I really, I know I miss Cromell on the undercard, but I really don't watch those Mayweather exhibitions like that. I don't know. I guess I'm not the market for that. I really don't too much care to see Mayweather fight for real, especially people that don't fight. So not really into that part of the sport, but it is what it is. And, I mean, if you can make a lane and find a place in boxing to make money, kind of like what Jake Paul did, it is what it is. How creative can you be in the sport of boxing? That's the question. So how was everybody's weekend? B-Dog in the building. What's going on, B-Dog? Let's see. Teach said it was a boring card. Floyd got the ref switched, and the ref forgot when the first round ended. What do you mean he got the ref switched? And how you forget when the first round ends? Don't the bell ring? What up, Dragon Assassin official in the building? How's it going? Big Supreme, what's good, Big Supreme? Yeah, everybody pouring in. Did y'all see that car last night? What y'all think about it? Teach just said it was trash, basically. He said it was boring. He said the refs got switched and was tripping, didn't know the rules. Big Supreme says, I think that was a gimmick. Laugh out loud. It's giving WWE. Is that what you're saying? Is it giving WWE? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Can y'all hear me clearly? Trying to get my mic position right. Put a one in the chat if I sound good. You can hear me clearly. Let's see. Teach say the first ref is an experienced ref too. I mean, how can you get the referee switch? Like in the middle of the fight? In the beginning of the fight? Like, how does that work? PGH Big Dog in the building. What's going on, PGH Big Dog? Big Supreme say, nah, Prime WWF Mick Foley on the barbed wire. Laugh out loud. Okay. B Dog say it was 2 minute rounds too. No fun. So, how much longer do y'all think that Floyd Mayweather gonna be able to get away with these exhibitions? I mean, who was really there? Like, I'm curious. I would like to see some numbers on these exhibitions because I'm curious what market is still watching it. Like, I don't think it's the hardcore fan. I don't think the hardcore fan is really watching it. And I don't really think it's casual fans, but you would have to think it would have to be more of the hardcore fans and people that really just fuck with Mayweather like that and follow him. But I don't think that's the people that's buying a fight. So I don't know. I don't know. It says Gotti was actually trying to box instead of fight, which made it kind of boring. Oh, so Gotti thought he was about to go outbox Floyd? Zach B, what's going on, Zach? Big Supreme say, nah, it's over. The jig is up. Big Supreme say the jig is up. Says if he want to continue doing it, he should go to Japan. Okay, Japan. 9 fingers in the building. Good afternoon, 2 cents. How you doing, young lady? I'm doing great. How are you doing this fine afternoon? I'm glad you chose to come and join us on the chat today. We got 17 in the building. I should have 17 likes. Make sure you get those likes up. And if you haven't already, be sure to punch that like and subscribe button. On the road to 1,000. I'm at 975 right now. I'm almost there. So if you have not subbed to the channel, please be sure to sub to the channel. And if don't be shy, if you would like to support the channel, obviously, I'm not monetized yet. You can't do no super chats, but you can always support the channel by cash apping 2 cents boxing. That's 2 cents with an S boxing. If you wanted to monetarily help support the channel, but you can always hit that like and subscribe button. That is absolutely free. Absolutely free. So Floyd looked like he didn't take the camp seriously. His midsection looked a little fat, and his reflex and speed are lower than it used to be. Age, yeah, absolutely. He definitely not gonna look like he would normally look after a camp, like 50-some years old. Says Teach, that ref is the one that ref the Foster versus Hernandez fight when he stopped him last round. Zach B says Tim Bradley said 2 cents, no boxing, and I definitely agree. Absolutely. And for those of you that do not know, that watch my channel, I was doing a live stream with Angry Man Sports Media. I'm not sure if y'all checked them out, but if you haven't, go check them out. Like, subscribe, and comment. Great channel. And I was co-hosting on Friday, and Tim Bradley popped up on the panel, and he said, "I know what I'm talking about," basically in a nutshell. So shout out to Tim Bradley. Me and Tim Bradley always don't agree. We don't always see eye to eye. But when you know what you're talking about, you just know what you're talking about. It says Tim Bradley showed love. Slogan 1 in the building. What's going on? Creole the Traveler. What's up? What is up? Big Supreme said, I told Greg that was Tim. You know how these trolls be in these chats, though, Big Supreme. You can't be trusting all that. You know what I'm saying? They be tripping. Dragon Assassin. Yo, for real. Good Warren 2 cent boxing. You that. I don't even know what that is. You're gonna have to. Good work. 2 cent boxing. You that. Okay. So there's been a lot of things unfolding on the internet lately in these YouTube streets, especially when it comes to boxing. We got Shakur Stevenson and more information coming out about him and the deal he made with Eddie Hearn and the timeline of him capping, acting like he wanted to fight Tank and all of that. And then another issue or big topic has been Brian Norman versus Boots Ennis and them sending a contract and them saying that Boots saying I sent them a contract, they turned it down. And Brian Norman coming out and being like, I ain't turned nothing down. I sent the counter offer, so I don't know what you're talking about. So let me get my 2 cents about that real quick, and then we can hop on Soft Touch Stevenson and how I feel about what's going on. Then I'm gonna drop the link because I want other people to come up here and get a 2 cents about these situations. So let me see. Read these comments real quick before I get started. 2 cents. I be in Boxing Gym's chat with Tim. Oh, okay. He loved that channel. He was there in the Lubin versus Ramos fight. He actually called Lubin winning it live, interestingly. The Eddie interview. Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about the Eddie Hearn Andre Ward interview. I want to go over that again. It says it means go on. That's patio. Sorry, my bad. It means salute on the Tim Bradley shout out. My bad. Okay, appreciate that. Slogan 1. Dragon official gotta teach them the lingo. Yeah, I don't know that lingo. Corey Williams in the building. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. At Dragon Assassin, you not FSG no more. You dropped your flag, blood. Okay. John Wick in the building. What's going on? Slogan 1. What up? So, like I was saying, I don't think that anybody is ducking anybody. First, let me say, I don't necessarily think that Brian Norman and Boots Ennis should fight right now. And let me tell you why. The reason why I don't think that they should necessarily fight right now is because, first of all, Brian Norman just got the belt. He just got the belt. He was emailed a belt. And when I say he was emailed a belt, I'm not taking no shots or nothing like that. That's just how it happened. A lot of people try to make it seem like if you get emailed a belt, it's something you done wrong or you should be frowned upon or laughed at. When let's examine the reason why you get emailed the belt. You get emailed the belt because the person with the belt didn't want to fight you. So how is that my fault? How do I get blamed for getting emailed the belt? Look, I've already fought the fight to get the next fight for the belt. So don't tell me, oh, you should fight for it. I've already fought for it. I've already fought to get the opportunity to get the belt. If the person that I fought to get the opportunity with doesn't want to fight me, then that's just like a forfeit. I automatically win the belt. So this whole, oh, you got emailed a belt and try to laugh and talk and make fun of people, I just think it's ridiculous because the reason why I got emailed a belt is because the person didn't want to fight me. So he just got the belt. And now everybody's like, oh, let's put him in the ring with Boots. Let's put him in the ring with Boots. I mean, his last couple performances were okay. But you seen him get knocked down in one performance, and you seen him getting hit a lot. Like I feel his defense needs to tighten up. I feel like he has a lot of things that he still needs to work on. No, I'm not saying, oh no, you don't need to make that fight because he's gonna lose. That's not what I'm saying. If they want to make the fight and people want to see the fight, then go ahead and make the fight and let people see the fight. But I'm just saying, I believe Brian Norman's 23. He just got the belt. Let him get some more experience under his belt. Let him get a couple title defenses in, and let him and Boots try to go through the division, unify some belts, and then let them meet for an undisputed matchup. If they're the best two in the division, why do y'all want them to cancel each other out right now? Let's get the names up and make it a big fight. That's how you structure fights in a way to be able to be profitable and make big money. Somebody say Norman actually fought in the title eliminator versus Santillan. John Wick say true, that makes sense. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. And a lot of people get all upset or feel some type of way or want to say people ducking and all of this when it's just not time to make the fight yet. The man haven't even defended the title. You want him to go try to unify with Boots right now? No. So back to the topic of somebody ducking and all this mess that got started and all this back and forth. I came across this video with Brian Norman Sr. and I want to play the video. I think I'm going to play the audio because I don't got time for copyright strikes. And then we're going to discuss it real quick. Because if you ask me, I don't think nobody ducking nobody. I think that there's some miscommunication going on with the teams and the people that are, I think, you know what I'm saying, that's supposed to be getting this stuff together. So let's listen to what Brian Norman Sr. had to say. This is the most recent audio to the situation.
People, man. Hey, this is the latest on the situation with the Boost fight on our end. Trying to be as transparent with possible with Boost and Moses on this team. I reached out to him after Eddie Hearn did his interview yesterday. We reached out immediately to from lawyers, the ones that sent the offer and asked what it is about us declining two offers. Matchroom lawyer comes back with, "Oh, we didn't realize you sent a counter offer," which I find that hard to believe because how can you say we declined anything? That means you never looked at the response to your offer. Because the first offer was out of, it's ridiculous, but the second offer was close, so we can work there a little bit. So anyway, we asked, "What's your final offer?" There's been no response, nothing since then. Eddie Hearn said, Brian Norman told me and my son told us to reach out to him soon so we can get this done. That's exactly what we did. It's been 7 days since the first contract was sent, so I know they work on Saturdays. I know they're up and running on Saturdays. Here it is, 4 o'clock the next Saturday. We waiting to see what's happening. So, again, that's all respect to Team Ennis. We all with it. Got nothing but love for them. I hope people don't think all of that bullshit was rah-rah towards them. None of that. No. We just don't want smoke in the rain, man. We want the smoke in the rain. Doing nothing personal. Bowles didn't turn the fight down. To make that clear, Boost didn't turn the fight down. I don't think anybody's lying. I think there's a bunch of misinformation going around. But at this point, it looks like it's bullshit going on at this point. Because we clearly reached back out and said, "What is your final offer?" That's been 24 hours. Nobody has said a word. So if you can respond and say you didn't realize we sent the offer, then we ask you, "Okay, what is your account offer?" But then we say, "Okay, well, what's your final offer?" And you don't say anything at all. That sounds kind of fishy. So I reached out to Bose and asked him, just let him know what's going on or whatever. And I guess he's gonna do whatever he doing his end, and we're gonna do what we doing his end to make the best fights for the fans to see at 147.
So after I watched this video, it kind of confirmed, just what I was saying. Like, I think it was just miscommunication. I don't think nobody ducking nobody. But it led me to another question as far as Eddie Hearn. What's up with Eddie Hearn? Now, you heard Eddie Hearn referred to from Javante Tank Davis as a snake in a suit. And when he said that, I was like, okay, so he say Eddie Hearn is a snake in a suit. What does that mean exactly? So I'm watching the promoters. I like the promoters. I follow them closely. I'm very, very interested in the business of boxing. It's very interesting to me. I like learning about it. I like talking about it. I like seeing how it works. I like seeing how it can stop things from happening, make things happen, and all of this, right? So I say, boom. Eddie Hearn is more in the American market now. He has more American fighters. Going to watch closely and see how he handles and what he does with these American fighters, because we haven't seen Eddie Hearn make an American fighter a star yet. And he's been doing this about 15, 20 years. We haven't seen him make one star yet. We seen what he did with Boo Boo Andrade. Absolutely nothing. So then now he has Boots, and now he has Shakur Stevenson. What is he going to do with them? So right now we're seeing a situation where there's some miscommunication between the teams, and they say they sent the offer, and they didn't told Boots that the offer was turned down, but the offer was really countered offered, and they hadn't responded to the counter offer. And it wasn't until Boots and Norman Sr. got on the phone with each other that something else was done about that, or the situation was looked into a little bit more. H Money, what up? Looked into a little bit more before we found out, like, oh, that wasn't really the truth. The fight wasn't really turned down. They sent the counter offer that the lawyers say that they didn't get. So kind of keeping in the back of your mind that somebody has mentioned to you that Eddie Hearn is a snake in a suit, and now you're hearing this situation pop up to where maybe if we wouldn't have never got on the phone with each other, we wouldn't have never known about no counter offers or nothing like that. Like, how close should we be keeping our eyes on Eddie Hearn with what's really going on? It could have been a just simple mistake, a simple communication, maybe. But does Eddie Hearn have a history of miscommunicating with people about fights and contracts? Did Eddie Hearn get these American fighters to make them stars? Or did he get them to profit as much as he can for as long as he can while he has these fighters? Because in order to make these fighters stars, he already said it himself that Shakur Stevenson wasn't promoted correctly at Top Rank. So Shakur Stevenson listens to you tell him he wasn't promoted correctly at Top Rank, and he comes to your promotional company and you give him Joe Cordina. Like, already and you put him on the undercard fighting on a Saturday afternoon. Like, already from the jump, it looks like you're moving him backwards. Now, if he just came to you and was like, I'm trying to get paid, then hey, that's on him. That's what his goals are. But I'm just curious to see what is it that Eddie Hearn is going to do with these young Black American fighters that have great skill levels. They're not bad fighters. They're decent fighters. But how is he going to promote them and make them the quote unquote stars or heroes, as he put it, that he can make them out to be? I'm curious. I want to see that. Dragon Assassin say Hearn is playing everyone so he can just make his Karen fight or UK fights. And that's another thing. I feel like when Boots see the next fight they get you is Karen, like, either I need to move up or I just need to get away from y'all. Because what are we doing? What are we doing? You just gave me Avanesian. Okay, boom, we're going to let that slide because the dude dropped out the fight. Avanesian was a replacement fight. it's a common opponent, I guess, between him and Bud Crawford. But then you're going to backdoor and make me fight Karen, a dude that I just beat 12-0. And a lot of people say, oh, that's not his fault because that was his mandatory. I mean, I guess. Creole say Eddie is young with connections. Connections in the U.S. or connections in the U.K.? Is that why it's about to be international court now? Because he's about to make him a star in the UK. How is he going to make him a star in the US? I want to know. I'm going to be watching very closely. Big Supreme say he had Farmer Haney and Shakur use Eddie to duck Tank. I mean, literally, Eddie Hearn said that he was instructed not to make the Tank fight. Don't make the Tank fight. He was instructed. And he doesn't even believe that Shakur should fight Tank next. He was like, oh, if I was Shakur, I would do this and fight Zepeda and this and that. This is what Eddie Hearn is saying. And I'm watching Eddie Hearn. I'm seeing him do more interviews. Well, actually, I always kind of kept my eye on Eddie Hearn, but a lot of his stuff was UK based. He's doing a lot more American media podcasts and interviews. And I'm watching them all and I'm listening to them all because I want to see what he's really able to do with Black American fighters. Dragon Assassin say, Hearn said in the interview that Shakur is boring and that's why Devin went to fight Ryan because Shakur doesn't sell. Ryan does. Now everyone believes Hearn is looking out for Shakur now. Well, Dragon, I mean, as far as looking out, the only reason I can say, he's probably looking out for is because he's with Turkey. And a lot of stuff that people not understand about Turkey is that he's willing to lose money. He's willing to lose money. He's not no worse or no better than any other promoter that's out right now. He's just willing to lose money, and they are not. They are not. So if somebody wants to put on a fight and people want to see it, he don't care about the numbers, allegedly. He'll just put on a fight, right? Because the fans want to see it and lose money. John Wick say, I do like the Karen fight though. Reason why is because that fight show Boots didn't know how to cut off the ring. I bet he worked on that, so maybe he gets him out of there early. Maybe. Says, but after that, he needs bigger fights, not named Karen or Albanesian. Let's talk about this real quick. Name the big fights that Eddie Hearn would have for Boots, and name the big fights that you think Eddie Hearn would have for Shakur. I'm actually about to drop the link in a few minutes. This is why I don't think Outlaw is special. The cats he's fighting now, every fight should look like Floyd versus Gotti. If Outlaw was the goods, but he's not. True Carrot had that crackhead footwork. Brian King, B Falcon in the building. What's going on? Says Boots' problem versus Karen. He didn't invest in the body to slow down his movement and make him more stationary. B-Dog, he'll get tired of losing money eventually too, just like the rest of them, possibly. Hearn can't even promote Ben, and he supports Ben and Ryan for their cheating antics. Snake. So that's all I want. That's what I just want to get that off my chest about Eddie Hearn. I mean, I'm just curious, like, what you looked at Eddie Hearn and was like, I'm gonna go to this guy. He got the big fights over there. He gonna be able to. He say I'm not being promoted correctly. He gonna be able to promote me correctly and make me a star. Like what reasons? Like, what about Eddie Hearn made you sign with him? That's what I'm curious to know. And while we're on Eddie Hearn, I wanted to bring up how more things have came to light about the Shakur Stevenson Tank fight not happening and all of that. So first, let me say, like I keep saying, let me get through these comments real quick. Boots was headhunting the Karen fight. He absolutely was. Makes sense. Don't fight Tank due to the PBC muzzle rule. Matchroom has no muzzle rule over Vada. I don't know if that's really important. All right. So more word has came out that Shakur Stevenson has been signed to Eddie Hearn Matchroom. Like he's been signed to. All when they was coming out saying they didn't know, and all when Eddie Hearn was capping, like if I was to represent Shakur, like all that shit, they was already signed to each other. He already knew he was gonna get the Joe Cordina fight, and that supposedly Zapata was about to be next, but I got my 2 cents about that Zapata fight also. I'm gonna drop. So the thing is, and the pattern that I have been trying to point out to people is that with the Shakur Stevenson, the Devin Haney, like they were making it a habit to call out Tank when either Tank wasn't available or they weren't available, and call him out saying they'll fight him, saying they'd be replacements for the fight. I'll jump in and take his Mickey Mouse belt, capping, saying all of this stuff, right? The only difference is that this time, something happened to where Loma dropped out of the fight. Okay, my bad, y'all. My charger, hold on. Hold on, let me get the charger. Let me see. For Boots, I think it was activity, and for Shakur, I think he's looking for a couple easy turkey bags. Okay. But who does he have for the activity? That's what I'm saying. Who does Eddie Hearn have for the activity? Okay, so we find out that Lomachenko drops out the fight, and now what's happening is you and Tank both appear to be available for a fight. Now, my 2 cents about Tank and Shakur fighting in November, I was like, I don't want to see the fight. I don't want to see Shakur fighting Tank as a replacement fighter. I want them both to have the right amount of time to prepare and get ready for each other. I don't necessarily have to see them fight in November. Tank got a 6-7 fight deal. Why would he fight him so early in the deal? It just really wouldn't make business sense. I don't mind seeing them fight later. They don't have to fight right now. Cool. Now, the issue came in when Shakur Stevenson already knew what his plan was going to be, which was he was signed to Matchroom. He was going to be fighting Joe Cordina and allegedly Zapata next. But the question is, when did he have this sign? Because it was well before he did that interview on Fanon and said the day before Loma dropped out the fight and said that he would fight Tank. He already knew then that he was tied into Matchroom. So I wonder, was he signed to Matchroom when he stripped down and put his chains on and did the video? I wonder, was he signed to Matchroom then? And it just starts to look like, as you look back on the things he said and then you look now at the things he's doing, it just starts to look like the ultimate clout chase. It starts to look like the ultimate clout chase. It starts to look like you don't really have intentions on fighting Tank, and it just doesn't look good. And it also starts to look like you moving backwards. You a co-main event, fighting on the undercard on a Saturday afternoon, competing against college football, and you saying you chasing greatness, and you saying you want to be a pay-per-view star, but you're doing the complete opposite. You sign with Eddie Hearn, who has what available to you, who's only putting blocks in front of the way of the big fights and the fights that you say you want. Like, what is up with that? Big Supreme say the problem is you don't have a name. They call you trash. Remember how many people was betting against Angela Leo and he made Alberto Loeb's brain bleed? Dragon Assassin says, wow. It says, I think Kerr should have signed a deal with PBC. At least they have Smoke and Tank. Kerr is hiding behind Turkey and Hearn. Brian King Falcon says, wow. Why everybody saying wow? It says, I bet my last dollar after he fights this bum, he'll call Tank name out knowing he's locked in a 2-3 fight deal with Matchroom Watch. Say it ain't so, 2 cents. What's good, 2 cents? YK Mac in the building. What's going on? Creole Travel, I know, right? This best not be true. Says if Bud only got 2.5 million versus DoorDash, where Kurt think he gonna pay him on the undercard versus a kiosk shoe shiner, 200K. Turkey got the bag, but I don't see him overpaying Kurt just because Tank is the bag and that's where he should be running to. He'll find somebody. Maybe he'll get Boots versus Ingentine, whoever that is. Says if that's true, that is bad. Big Supreme say he been signed to Eddie. He says, remember he close to Boots and trains with Raymond Ford. Somebody said, why Shakur? Somebody say Jay Prince is directing his career. Semi World in the building. What's going on? They say howdy chat. So yeah. So Dragon's Word say we all in shock with your news, 2 cents. Hence everyone saying, wow, Shakur looking bad if that's true, Queen. I mean, think about it. Think about how he wasn't supposedly signed to nobody yet, but Eddie Hearn was negotiating on his behalf. Like, why is Eddie Hearn? But like, you doing this for free, Eddie? Is he paying you a consultant fee? Like, why are you doing all this negotiating and talking, and he ain't signed to you yet? Why did Eddie Hearn say, "Oh, I was instructed not to negotiate and make the Tank fight"? And so people, and when I heard that, I was like, the Tank fight not happening. I said this to people, it's not gonna happen, y'all. He went to Eddie Hearn. He went somewhere where there would be barriers to not be able to make the fight. So I know it's a barrier. I can't make the fight. I could continue to clout chase off your name. Now, I'm not saying that they won't fight. It's a strong possibility they could fight. But I honestly, my 2 cents, believe that there's no intention there. There's no real intention there. Because it just doesn't seem like it. So people say, oh, well, the only reason why he fighting Joe Cordina is because Tank ain't sending the contract. Tank ain't sending the contract. What he's supposed to do, just sit around and wait for Tank? I don't know why Tank sending the contract and me picking a bullshit opponent is correlated to each other. You act like since Tank ain't sending the contract, he got to go fight somebody moving up in weight coming off a knockout loss when the two have nothing to do with each other. They don't have anything to do with each other. He could have picked a better opponent to fight. Big Supreme say Jay Prince managed Andre Ward, and that's why he never fought Adonis Stevenson. And that's what I'm saying. And that's crazy that you mentioned that, because I was going to try to play a clip. I still might play it from this interview with Andre Ward and Eddie Hearn. And Andre Ward was trying to explain from a fighter's perspective about how they felt about getting paid and the money. H Money, what's good with you? Say Eddie is a young, real on if them. I don't know what that means. He might have been the reason Floyd never fought Cotto and Oscar. Deuce, what's good? What up? H Money says boxing corruption. Eddie Hearn is said to be not Curry. What does that mean? What does that mean? All right, but for real, hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can find this, because I don't understand the mentality of some of these fighters. Because let's take for Shakur, for example. He said he chasing greatness and he wants to be a pay-per-view star. Well, I don't, even if that's your goal, leaving top rank, if you want to be a pay-per-view star, we should see you making the moves to be a pay-per-view star. Not to do the complete opposite. Not to fight an opponent that nobody really knows. You claim you want to be international career now. And all this stuff, like, you're moving backwards. You're very contradictory. You're telling the public one thing, and then you're doing something different. And I just want to see if I can play this for y'all. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can get it. Let me share my screen real quick. Krill say the interview is good. Knockout Boxing 86 TV in the building. He said it's simple. Shakur, a Joe, and didn't want any smoke. Knockout Boxing 86 TV says Shakur said in a tweet that Hearn told him that Cordina is popular. That's why he's taking the fight. Hearn lied to Shakur. Cordina is not popular in the UK. I mean, listen, nobody care if he popular. We want to see a fight that we perceive to be competitive so we can see your skill. We don't want to see you fight somebody because you think that they're popular. And it's not even like you fighting them as the main event. You fighting them on the undercard on the Saturday afternoon. Ton of Review says you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button. Being Israel, shalom to the Queen 2 cents. What's going on? Big Supreme say I need a Tempur-Pedic to watch Shakur. Let's see. Possibly well at a certain time. Yeah, they eventually fought. Says Tank can't send a contract unless Shakur and his team agrees to the terms, negotiations, and back and forth. Term sheets come first. And then think about that when you hear Shakur say, "Oh, I mean, I think I might have heard something from his team and they called, but they never called us back." Well, they probably never called you back because you informed that you were already in a deal with Eddie Hearn. But y'all want to leave that out. Of course, they didn't call you back. If you already in the 2-fight deal with Eddie Hearn, what they gonna call you back for? Says I agree. Fighting Cordina on an undercard accomplishes nothing. It could possibly hurt his stock. I think it's gonna hurt his stock. Do you drop links? I'm ready to come up and cook. Yes, I'll be dropping link in a second. I just got one more thing I want to show, then I'm gonna drop the link. It said Eddie Hearn is not to be corrupt. I say Shakur team up with Matchroom. Kerr definitely ain't saying Tank ducked him because Tank team has receipts. So Kerr has been being real polite lately. And he gonna have to stay polite. It's not gonna be no going back and forth. It's not gonna be no more big boy talk after this. Because you done already deaded it. You went from why you ducking me, rocking back and forth in your gaming chair to it's the Super Bowl of boxing. He's a great fighter. I'm a great fighter. I'm not ducking him. He not ducking me. You can't backtrack on that because you're gonna get roasted, bro. You cannot backtrack on that. And it says Shakur the prospect Stevenson, Lil Bro Keyshawn Davis is in a better fight than him. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what Shakur is doing right now. Like, if he's really just on this money grab that he don't care about messing up whatever he's built or his legacy or whatever, then that's cool. Just say that that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you're gonna keep getting criticized. And nobody still believes that you're afraid of Tank or nothing like that. But we just know you obviously, for whatever reason, don't want to fight him. So let me know if y'all can hear this.
Rate himself as a promoter.
I mean, I'm not low on ego, but let's be honest. As a promoter, right? Forget the platform, as a promoter, as a voice, as someone that delivers the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about a dying breed of people that go up on the dais,
Can y'all hear it?
right, and say, welcome. This is my show, and let me tell you why you should come. They don't do it anymore. If you look at PBC, they don't have a front man. Bob's 93. Right?
Can y'all hear it? Did y'all hear it? Let me know if y'all heard it, because I didn't see it pop up. Okay. Let's run it back. All right, let me find a part.
Oscar's Oscar.
Oscar's
Right.
Oscar.
So with Terence, once Bob knows they're off, from another country, steps on toes, you know, like I don't dislike any of them, you know, but I think that what happens is Bob, you know, this happened with Shakur and this happened with Terence. Once Bob knows they're off, they're dead to him. Do you know what I'm saying? So when Shakur's got 2 fights left and he goes, when my top rank deal's up, I'm not re-signing. And I don't blame Bob, by the way. Like, where's your motivation to grow that fighter for the future? Terence the same. Bob got it in his head because Bob lost money on Terence.
Okay, now this is where he's talking about how it's coming about, because they're sitting here doing this interview, and Andre Ward is trying to tell Eddie Hearn things from a boxer standpoint, and he's trying to understand things from a promoter standpoint. And what he's talking about is, you know, why would Bob Arum, you know, when these fighters are coming to the end of their deals, why would Bob Arum try to do, if you say, hey, after my deal is up, I'm out of here, why would Bob Arum try to do anything to help you better your career or help you move along in your career? Like, why would he do that? You just said you finna leave me. So why would I give you a Loma fight and all these big fights when you saying after your 2 fights is up, you finna leave me? Why would I do that?
It's the same. Bob got it in his head because Bob lost money on Terence, right? So he'd do a pay-per-view with Terence.
Hold on, y'all. Let me
I mean,
find
Oscar
it.
can't
Because
stand
you're
it.
not from here, or just because of. I'm not sure fighters should do that. If you want to leave, that doesn't have to be public information because you will see a promoter acting different.
Yeah.
But somebody like Terence Crawford, like, is that a fair statement when he hasn't got a real shot at pay-per-view? We're talking about Victor Postol and
Amir Khan. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
is that a real fair shot when
I feel like the way to you don't just become a pay-per-view star. You have to be built from an early part of your career if you want to do the big numbers. And I just feel like Terence Crawford wasn't built properly coming through. I look at Terence and I look at Shakur Stevenson. I'm probably a little bit disjointed because I'm from the UK. And if we had Terence Crawford and we had Shakur, these guys would be national heroes.
What you mean, Eddie? You mean if Shakur and Crawford were from the UK? Because if you could make them national heroes, won't you do that with them right now? You got them signed. What national hero do you have? What, Anthony Joshua? Who else, Eddie? What other star has Eddie Hearn built? Please let me know in the comments. What other star has Eddie Hearn built? What American star has Eddie Hearn built? Like, you trying to sit here and make it seem like if you were promoting them, you would be doing something so great and so different. When right now you got Shakur Stevenson fighting Joe Cordina, and you got Boots fighting Karen, who he already beat 12-0. But I digress. Let's continue.
Right? They'd be like superstar. I know, but I also get the feeling that America, like, still America. You still love sport. I know that boxing's not, you know, the biggest sport in America, but these are quite like, how good is Shakur? He's a 3-division world champion. He's 27 years of age, right? He's not even really come out of first gear, has he? Like, I mean, but really, he could walk out now down here in LA. I don't think many people know he is. Even Terence. You know, these guys I feel like should be, but you build them from the ground up. So what happened with Terence was he was never really built or promoted correctly. And then his purses, because he was so good and because he was winning everything, were going up and up and up. And then Bob looks at it and goes, we need to put him on pay-per-view because ESPN or wherever it is at the time aren't paying them the rights fees to pay.
So let me explain too what this means. So what he's saying is Terrence Crawford was never billed like a pay-per-view star, right? And we're talking about Terrence Crawford because that's who Eddie is talking about. So I'm what I'm getting from what he's saying is the reason why Terrence Crawford was never built that way or pushed that way. One of the reasons was because because of his skill level, he started demanding so much money for his purses to fight that they eventually had to put a fight on pay-per-view. And I've heard Eddie Hearn mention before with the Devin Haney and Regis fight that the reason why the fight was on pay-per-view was because Eddie Hearn still had some expenses that he needed to take care of. So I know I used to think like a lot of times when they're doing these pay-per-views, they doing these pay-per-views so they can get back in and this and this and that, when that's not necessarily true. Sometimes they're doing the pay-per-view to be able to cover expenses because maybe the fighters have asked too much for the fight that they need to do this pay-per-view in order to cover some expenses. Otherwise, they may possibly lose money. So you got a fighter that's asking for so much money that it's causing the promoter to lose money. So now what they have to do is figure out a way to minimize that or to cover more expenses so they either won't lose money or lose as much money. And that's what's going on and why Terrence Crawford is being put on pay-per-view with the type of opponents that he's put on pay-per-view with.
Hey, what this guy wants. So we roll the dice on pay-per-view and it flops.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me in semi-passive income. Now, here's the thing. I don't own.
Right?
But it's set up to flop when you're facing a Jeff Horn.
Yeah. But then I guess you're right in the respect of when he fights Errol Spence, the numbers are much better.
Of
Do you know
course.
what I mean? Yeah. But when he fights Jeff Horn, when he fights Posto, when he fights Amir Khan, when he fights Kell Brook.
Are those fights, were those fights ever really going to sell?
Not really. But what happens, Dre, is the fighters' purses become so expensive. The only model that works is pay-per-view. But you're rolling the dice because if you don't hit the numbers, someone's got to make up the deficit on the minimum. And that will be Bob, right? So when Terrence does his deal to fight Kell Brook or Amir Khan, he says, yeah, I want 3 million, 4 million minimum guarantee, plus I want my upside on the pay-per-view over 150. It ends up doing 60,000 buys. And the break-even point is 125 for Top Rank, and they're in for 3 million. And then Bob looks at it and goes absolutely berserk. And from that day, Bob goes, he's a waste of money.
So there you have it, y'all. Eddie Hearn just explained the issue that Bob was having with Bud and probably the issue other promotional companies would have with Bud. And a lot of y'all thinking, these promotional companies don't want to work with Bud because they don't want him to beat their fighters. No, it's not about if he gonna beat their fighters. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to have to lose money in addition to their fighter losing. Because you're going to demand so much that we're going to lose. Because you want to be paid based off your skill level and how well you fight, but you don't want to be paid with the numbers that we use to see how much revenue that you really bring in. You don't want to be paid like that. So now you making people have to choose. So when you want to be paid like that, of course, that's going to affect the type of opponents you fight. That's going to affect the type of fights you get because it's the promoters that are willing to work with you or not because they're hearing how you are and how you're going to demand this. And it's going to be hard to become a star that way because to become a star in boxing, you got to promote yourself. I heard Tim Bradley say on Friday, part of it is either you have it or you don't. And the other part is how well are you partnering with these promoters versus turning it into a you versus me thing. It should be more of a partnership. Like I should be partnering with these promoters versus just trying to get like a bank heist, just trying to get as much as I can, because that's going to interfere with the relationships you have, in my opinion.
Not, do you know what? This is frustrating. This kid's special. We've got to find a way to get to 125. Bob's already made his mind up, right? And then the conversation, then Terence goes, "Oh, I won that. Next fight, I want 4 million guarantee, 5 million." And Bob goes, "I lost 3 million on that. You." And then
but it's not. This is my point. And I get everything you're saying, and you're right. But from the fighter standpoint, you don't get what's fair. You get what you negotiate. Look
at Andre Ward. He acting like he about to say some profound stuff. Listen to this stupid shit this dude say.
Let me elaborate. We're into a negotiation, fighter promoter, and these minimums are being brought up, right? And you know, as a fighter, so you got to give the fighter a little bit more credit. If I know historically, I haven't been promoted as a pay-per-view star. Just been the bare minimum. Just speaking generally. I'm gonna make sure my minimums are strong, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm guaranteed. Now, you crying about what you didn't make, it's got nothing to do with me. It does in a sense.
Yeah.
Because it can hurt me.
You're right. You got to fight your own.
But hear me. I'm saying this is the fighter's standpoint. You know, the promoter's standpoint. The fighter saying, if I know historically I haven't gotten the push that I feel like I need, my minimums have to be strong. Just because you try to prop up a pay-per-view against a Jeff Horn, Amir Khan, or whoever the case may be, Amir Khan's way past his prime. That's not going to sell. I know it. You know it. And then when the pay-per-view doesn't do what you think it's going to do, or we know it's not going to sell. But now I'm on the hook for you losing money, and then that's the narrative that's got put out there. That's the game that promoters play.
That's not a game. Okay, so let's cover this. And I'm probably done with this. I'm going to take this off. But do y'all hear what Andre Ward is saying? He is not taking any accountability as a fighter. He's just saying, well, I mean, if y'all lose money, that's on y'all. That ain't got nothing to do with me. What do you mean, bro? It got everything to do with you. You the fighter. You're the fighter. You're the reason we're losing money in the first place, because you're asking for too much money on the guarantee when you don't bring in what you're asking for. So now I have to get you paid and take a gamble on running these pay-per-views, hoping the numbers that do okay, that I don't lose money, I at least can break even, or I don't lose a lot of money. What are you talking about, Andre Ward? And then you say, and then now the pay-per-view don't do good, so now I get this bad reputation of losing money. Yes, you absolutely lost the money, bro. You're the product that I'm selling. I don't understand why he don't get this. And when I watched this interview, it made me feel like, see, the fact that you don't even understand, the fact that Eddie Hearn is sitting here right now explaining to you how this work, and you don't even know how this work, y'all need to chill and stop that, because just like Al Heyman told Crawford, y'all are limiting yourselves. You're limiting yourself because you won't take the time to find out how it really works. You just want what you want and get your minimum, fuck the fans and all that, and I want what I want, and then I want to get out of here. But then you want to backdoor and complain that you don't get the support from the fans, and you don't get the pay-per-view buys from the fans, and you don't get all of these things from the fans, and you wonder why. But look how you're acting. It's just all about you making sure you get your guarantees, you making sure you get your minimums. You don't care who the fans perceive to be competitive. You're not gonna fight them. And this is the issue where Shakur is now, where he's complaining about people complaining about saying he boring and he this and he that. And he like, oh, F the fans. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about their promotional companies. They don't care who they fight. They want to make the most money for the least risk possible. And all of that other pay-per-view star and all that other stuff, they don't really want that. That's just talk. Because if they really wanted that, they would move like that. They will move in them directions. They don't move in that direction. Most money, least risk. That's how they moving to me. And that's why I think that Shakur Stevenson might not have any intentions on fighting Tank Davis. And if he does fight Tank Davis, he might sit around and wait and try to fight him, try to quote unquote age him out, or wait till he miss a step, or wait till he look a certain way, or try to move up to 140 and say Tank need to come to 140 to fight you. Hopefully they fight next year. Hopefully they do. But I just dropped the link. I want anybody to come up here, share their 2 cents on any of the topics that I talked about, and we just gonna kick it. We just gonna kick it because these has been the two hottest topics this past week, and I just want to give my 2 cents about them real quick. We got Teach in the building. What's going on, Teach? What's up with you, Teach?
What's going on, 2 cents?
Nothing much. What's your 2 cents? What you covering?
Salute to you. Good live the way it started out. And salute to everybody in the chat, even the Shakur haters. Yeah, you know I like you guys, even though we disagree.
What you disagree on?
I mean, the whole Shakur incident.
What about it?
And GM, one of the biggest haters too of Shakur. Still my guy, still my guy.
But what you don't agree on? I mean, he was already signed to Eddie Hearn before he started doing all that capping. He already knew what was up. He knew he wasn't available to fight Tank, even though he made it appear that way. He has put a barrier in between him and the Tank fight. He's fighting a subpar opponent that everybody is having an issue and a problem with, and people are trying to hide behind, oh, he getting the bag. He's fighting on a Saturday, competing with college football, and he's a co-main event. Now, what part of that you don't agree with?
Now, I just want to start it by just pretty much going over the whole summary of the life so far and what I have. So, the way the situation unfolded, right, pretty much says that both guys were free to fight each other, but they weren't planning on fighting this year. I mean, we've heard it with Shakur. He said the fight is going to happen. Tank is not ducking. And we didn't hear anything from Tank's side, so there was nobody to refute that. Um, and so now another point is, since there wasn't any official announcement of when Shakur signed with Eddie, right? Any claims to know the exact timing of when Shakur signed is like pure speculative at this point. I mean, it's clear Shakur was leaning towards Eddie, because we've seen them in the media together, right? So we've seen Eddie and Shakur in the media, but we pretty much didn't know like when Shakur signed to him. 3 weeks ago, Shakur mentioned in an interview that he was still free and open to talk to anyone. That was one interview. And then 8 days ago, he pretty much did another interview saying the same point, that he was free and still willing to talk to anybody. And then a few days ago, we learned that he signed. Um,
And that's what I'm telling you, Teach. You didn't just sign a few days ago and you got 2 fights lined up.
but that's what I'm saying though. If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago if Shakur is going to sign to Eddie, I mean, I would say yes because of what we saw in the media, right? He was always with Eddie, like going out. So it's clear to say that Shakur had a higher possibility to sign with him than anybody else. But the fact is, we don't know when he signed. So until he tells us, so we can get proof, we don't know when he signed. If he signed, prior, that's what I'm trying to say. Um, Now Shakur clearly wants to fight the top opponents, in my opinion, but he also wants to ensure that he gets paid. And again, like if you were to ask any boxer, like what they're going to choose, money over legacy, most likely you're going to hear like they choose money, right? But however, it doesn't mean that they abandon legacy. Now, the reason why I say this is what what did we learn from Turkey, right? We learned that Turkey is working with everyone: Matchroom, Queensberry, Top Rank, PBC. Golden Boy, right? So this shows that the fights can still be arranged without restrictions because Turkey is involved. Shakur is currently with Matchroom. I mean, he has a 2-fight deal, and he's pretty much going to see if any other fights can be made after that. Recently, in Eddie's last interview with Matchroom, so it's on the Matchroom site. He pretty much said that he would want Cordina, which is a fact. He wants Zepeda. I think that fight is going to happen from the evidence we got. And then he said he wants Tank. Now, my question to you and my question to the people in the chat is, why do people feel like Tank has an issue with Eddie? I don't know all the evidence towards that, but from what I know is Tank tried to make a fight with Conor Ben. They had a falling out because of money, and that's that. Um, it's not really like a personal issue, it was just like a money issue. So I don't know if there's other evidence that said Tank is
Well, let me see. Let me answer that. We got Dragon Assassin in the building. What's going on, Dragon?
2 cents. Salute.
What's up? But let me answer this too real quick. Since you brought it up about the Zepeda fight. Now, my 2 cents about the Zepeda fight, and a lot of times I think this stuff in my head, and I never make a video about it, or I never say it out loud. But I said from now on, I'm gonna start making videos about it, and I'm gonna start saying it out loud. This is what I think is gonna happen with the Zepeda fight, right? Oscar De La Hoya has already told you. Well, first of all, allegedly Zepeda's already ducked you twice. And Oscar De La Hoya has already told you if you want the Zepeda fight, you gotta sign the Golden Boy. And Zepeda got options because he's ranked #1 in all the other sanctioning bodies. And so my question is, if Zepeda's already ducked you twice, Oscar has told you to get the fight, you gotta sign to Golden Boy. What makes you think you're gonna get Zepeda next? I think we're being set up for the court to say Zepeda ducked him again and for him to fight another easy BS opponent.
but 2 cents. We just learned that Turkey and Golden Boy they're planning on something, right? We've seen Turkey in the ring with Oscar, and I feel like this is it. Like with him in the mix, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm pretty sure. With Turkey in the pot, this fight has a high possibility of happening.
But
And
Oscar was cool with Turkey when he told Shakur, "You got to sign with me to get this Zepeda fight." They was cool then. So my question, and you might be right, but my question is, why did he even say that to him?
I
You get what I'm
don't,
saying?
I don't think it was cool then because Turkey was never in the mix at that point. And Oscar, he was just trying to avoid that fight at all costs. I'm not saying Zepeda was ducking, but Oscar was just trying to avoid that fight at all costs. Now, when Turkey got in the mix, his tune kind of changed. Well, that's what I'm saying. And one last point that I wanted to make, and this is in the case of Boots, right? Like Boots signed with Eddie for several reasons, right? To stay active, to get paid, and also to make fights. And again, we learned that Turkey's working with Eddie, and we learned that some big fights can be made. And I believe that's one of the reasons why Boots had gone with Eddie.
But what big fights has Turkey made?
It's a possibility for him to get these fights in the future. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we'll see. Dragon Assassin, what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Salute. I just want to just make a point because a lot of people like Shakur fans, they seem to think that everyone's hating on Shakur. That's not the problem. The problem is Shakur keeps running his mouth and downgrading other fighters like he's that guy. And then all of a sudden, he ends up fighting Cordina. Now, the thing is, if Shakur wanted to be a big star, going on a co-main event, fighting someone like Cordina is not a good look. No matter if he wins or loses, he's still devalued himself. And everyone keeps trying to justify Cordina is this amazing fight for Shakur when there's other guys at 135 that Eddie Hearn could have let him fight. Now, I'm telling you all this now because I know a lot of people are like, oh, Cordina this, Cordina that. I've spoken to a lot of people in the UK about Cordina, and they are all laughing.
Really? I
all
thought
I'm
he was a
saying.
big star in the UK.
No, he's not. I'm telling you that now. So everyone who's saying that he is, you all fools. I'm telling you, because there's a lot of people that we watch boxing fights, we pay for boxing fights, all my friends and all that. And when I've mentioned this Cordina, a lot of them are like, Cordina. Like, I'm telling you. So people need to stop calling it hate. It's fact. Cordina is a wrong choice, and Eddie Hearn has fooled up Shakur and is making Shakur look bad. Yeah, I think Shakur's a good fighter, but Eddie Hearn is making Shakur look bad, and all you lot, yes men, and justifying Cordina and making Shakur look even worse. Simple as that.
Now, I feel like this is like a narrative being pushed on Shakur fans. And the reason why I say this is because from all the channels that I follow here on YouTube in terms of boxing, I mean, I haven't seen any Shakur fans saying Cordina is the best fight. Me, for one, I don't like this Cordina fight. I think it should have been De Los Santos. But I just want to know where this narrative is coming from that Shakur fans said Cordina is a shit. That's what I want to know.
There is a plenty. If you look, I've been on plenty of platforms, and you see, when I've been on Deems, I've been on Fannons, I've seen other people on Just News, there's other platforms, and you're seeing people justifying it, going, "Oh, Cordina had a knockout win streak, and it was just unfortunate that he got knocked out, and it is a good fight." I've heard a lot of Shakur fans trying to justify it, and for me personally, Teach, when I'm hearing that, I'm laughing because I'm like, are you guys for real? Because I'm actually here with people that watch boxing, and we're speaking, and we're all having a laugh about this. We're not laughing at Shakur. We're laughing at how Eddie Hearn has fooled everyone to believe that Cordina's a good fight. And all the Shakur fans are actually saying, yeah. Like, I'm not being funny. If Gervonta Davis, forget Gervonta Davis, if anybody else, Abdullah Mason says he's fighting Cordina, people would be laughing, like, they wouldn't accept it. So that's my problem. Like, you Shakur fans need to, like, not you, Teach, because you're the only one that I'm hearing saying you don't agree with it, but a lot of other people are trying to justify it, and it's really, really bad. Especially in the UK, it's bad.
Well, there's a lot of people that do have an issue with Joe Cordina as opponent, but he wants to come out, and a lot of people say, "Well, it's a stay busy fight. It's a stay busy fight." And I mean, is he staying busy for Zapata? Like, what he had was his last fight a stay busy fight? Like, what is going on? Like, and the reason why we're questioning it is just because the direction you say you want to go in, and don't look like you're going that way. So that's why you're getting all this attention. Period. It has nothing to do with you not fighting Tank. It has nothing to do with Tank not sending you a contract. We're looking at you as the individual. You cannot blame the decisions you making. You deciding to sign with Matchroom got nothing to do with Tank. You deciding to fight Joe Cordina got nothing to do with Tank. You decided to sign a fight deal with Matchroom ain't got nothing to do with Tank, and it clearly doesn't have anything to do with Tank, because that put the barrier in the way of you making the Tank fight.
And what you said totally makes sense, because if you want the big fights to happen, right? If you want Tank, obviously the best choice would be going to PBC. But again, we have to factor in why these guys are making the moves that they make. And again, it's not only about legacy, it's about getting paid as well. So I guess the luring point for Shakur was to get paid, but at the same time, I made a point earlier that with Turkey involved, we have a higher chance of getting these fights. What other point did I want to make? You could take it over until I get my thoughts clear.
Will anybody else want to come up here and get a 2 cents? The link is at the top of the chat.
Yes,
yeah, Teach. The thing is, yeah,
D-Town Funk in the building. What up, D-Town? Go and click the link and come join us. Go ahead, Dragon.
Yeah, Teach. I'm not even saying that Shakur's a duck or Gervonta's a duck. The reason why I'm not saying that is because I'm still waiting to hear from both sides. I don't like to make assumptions, because I don't like to be wrong. You know what I mean? So I'm not calling him a duck, and I actually think Shakur's a good fighter. But for the way Shakur trash talks other people's fighters, like, oh, he's rubbish, he's a C-level fighter, that guy's whack, that guy's crap, that guy's dead, and then he goes and fights Cordina, and then he's gone from a main event to an undercard. That move in itself makes Shakur look so silly, bro.
And
It's silly.
he does that. He does that, and I see it. I mean, I even saw it today. Like, he was pretty much talking shit to Cambosos on Twitter. So I can't refute anything.
Why, bro? Why are you talking shit to Cambosos?
So
Like, is he gonna fight Cambosos after this fight?
I don't know what's happening, and I don't want him to fight Cambosos.
Why would you fight Cambosos? If Shakur Stevenson fight Cambosos, I mean, I'm done. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, because what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Like, seriously, like, you're literally going backwards. Why don't he rematch De Los Santos? That's an anticipated fight. That's a fight the fans want to see. That'll be a fight that the fans will perceive to be competitive. It'll be challenging for you. Fight De Los Santos. You're gonna fight. I'm done.
I mean, he's Twitterson, so I mean, there's nothing that I could do about that.
Teach. Imagine if Shakur comes to you and he says, "Oh, he's hungry. He wants some jerk chicken, fried dumpling, plantain, and that." Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Okay, cool." And the next minute, you know, he's with Eddie Hearn having fish and chips. Okay, you understand where I'm coming from, Teach?
Yeah, totally do.
Oh no.
So I don't know. I mean, we gotta see, because you gotta be careful with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn will get you beat while you playing around over there with him. But what do y'all think about the Brian Norman boot situation?
I don't think anyone's ducking each other on that again. I think there's a miscommunication, but I think the common denominator is Eddie Hearn again. Personally, I just don't trust him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I don't know if you've been here since the beginning, but that's exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, you know, Tank Davis called Eddie Hearn a snake in a suit and Teach. I know you was asking earlier why he said that. I'm not sure why he said that, but what I said I was gonna do was watch Eddie Hearn very closely, the moves he makes, the things people say, and for that to always kind of be in the back of your head, like, somebody did call him a snake in a suit. And now you're having a situation where there's so much miscommunication going on that they sent the offer. You went back and told Boots that they declined the offer when they really sent the counter offer. And if Bozy and Norman Sr. wouldn't have got off on the phone, we never would have known if we ever would have known the truth.
Yeah, and going back to Teach's point about why Eddie Hearn and Tank's got problem. From what I can recall is I remember Eddie Hearn saying that Tank's illiterate and he can't read or something like that, and that's where it stemmed from, I think.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Tried to say he was stupid, basically.
Yeah. Eddie Hearn's a jackass, man. He's an idiot.
But at the same time, do you think a lot of these boxers are gonna make personal feelings get involved of making money?
It's a good question.
Yep.
Depends on the person, I guess. But I know in the sport, like, money is what you want to make.
Another thing, Teach. If and again, I'm not dissing Shakur because I think he's good, but if Shakur is that guy for the way he's spoken, money shouldn't be an issue for him if he's fighting Tank, because if he bets on himself and he's so confident, he'd make the most money if he was to beat Tank, wouldn't he?
Oh, facts. And to me, Shakur should take anything that Tank gives him. And the reason why I say this is because Shakur himself came out and said this is going to be the biggest fight in boxing. And if he believes that, he should believe that the pay-per-view is going to do well, and the back end for him would be good. So that's what I think.
Yeah, you're the only Shakur fan that I've heard that's spoken sense, to be honest, Teach. So salute to you for that.
And I want to say something. So initially with the Boots and Norman issue, right? I mean, I was skeptical in the beginning just because Norman he just got the belt, right? And just getting that belt, and plus Norman, he doesn't really have a big name. So getting that belt puts him in a good position to bring his name up there. And him going right off the bat to fight Boots, I was like, oh man, that's tough. If you're trying to build his name, why go the Boots route first? Because he's definitely going to lose, in my opinion.
And that's why I agree with you there, Teach. That's the same thing I was saying. Like, guys, he just got the belt. Let him get a couple title defenses. Let him get some more. He's only 23.
Right, right.
Some people saying, oh, they both in their prime. No, they're not. Brian Norman is not in his prime right now. He's only 23. Let him get some more experience. Let him get some more fights. Let him get some title defenses. Let him possibly try to unify. Let him just give him the boost already. If this is the best fight that could be made at 47, why make it right now? I don't understand that.
So I think the person that Boots should be gunning hard for is Stanionis because
Yeah,
I mean he's been in there for a while now. So you should get him first, probably go on to Barrios, and then as Norman said, Boots is the final boss, so just save him for last. But now with the way Norman and his father is talking over the, media, acting like they want all the smoke, I'm like, okay, you should just make this fight. Let's see what happens.
Nah, nah,
Stanionis
nah.
doesn't want to fight Boots though. He said to him, I don't know what's going on, but he said that he never got an offer. And Hearn says check his DMs. And then Stanionis must have said that Hearn offered him like chump change, some like little dollars or something. So it doesn't seem like Stanionis wants to fight Boots.
No, I think Stanionis like would fight him if they make a good offer because I mean it was a couple years ago. I think Stanionis did an interview when he was supposed to fight Virgil. That fight never happened. And I remember Stanionis kind of being pissed in that fight because of his money issue.
Yeah,
Like he did his camp, he had to pay these guys, and now he's spending money and nothing's happening. I felt like Golden Boy should have compensated him somehow. But I think during that time as well, um, they said that it was going around that Boots sent an offer to Stanionis at that point, and then Stanionis was like he never refused anything.
yeah.
This was like an old interview.
Yeah, I heard Stanionis been ducking, so I don't know if Stanionis gonna fight him. I
So
don't
you
know.
were
Like
saying,
I'm interested to see like who these people gonna fight and how Eddie Hearn is going to promote them.
when you were saying like Stanionis wasn't getting any fights, like he was pretty much inactive. I mean, the guy wants money. Like I feel like he would have taken that Boots fight if it was presented well or something.
I mean,
From
but how much money can I pay you to fight Boost? It's not like he's a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, not, but again, this guy, he's trying to earn a living, right? I mean, this guy, you just have to listen to that interview because it looks like he was in need of money, man.
I seen the interview. I seen it. He seemed sad.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. We just gonna have to wait and see. Did y'all watch the fights last night?
I seen highlights. I wasn't watching that fight. I wasn't interested. The only fight I wanted to watch was Kermel Moulton. I wasn't interested in any other fight, to be honest. But I heard Kermel Moulton beat the guy in is it what 60 seconds or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something crazy.
I've
Yeah.
seen some of the fight. Seen the Carmel Morton thing. I mean, he's not going to get better fighting guys like these that you could just knock out in under a minute. So they should step his game up like he did like 2 fights ago, I believe, where he went all 12. He needs
With
fights.
Cuba.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he needs fights like those.
I
Yeah.
think they mixing it up. Easy fights, difficult fights.
Hmm. All
Yeah. The
right,
Cuba
that
the
makes
Cuba
sense.
fight was the best fight that he had.
And then I saw a little bit of the Picasso fight, and then I saw like the main event. I don't know what happened in the in the first round. Like the ref just forgot like when the round was supposed to end because I think it was like a 2 minute a 2 minute round or something, but he totally forgot when it was going to end. And then I think the next round, some shenanigans happened in there with Floyd and the ref, and Floyd had the ref switched.
Yeah, I
But
know you could do that.
it's an
Hey, we
exhibition, so I guess that he could have. He had the power to do that.
we got Coach Eddie in the building. What's going on, Coach Eddie? Coach Eddie, what's going on?
Salute, Coach Eddie.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing today?
We're doing good. We're doing good. I don't know how long you've been listening, but what's your 2 cents about what we've been talking about? What you got for the show?
Oh yeah, I just tuned in a little while ago. I heard y'all talking about the Floyd fight and all that. Floyd fight wasn't really, man. It was trash, man. To be honest, man, it was super boring. It was no competition. I know it was an exhibition, but it's like that dude. I don't know if they told that guy don't throw any hard punches or what, man. But it was like it was scripted. You know what I'm saying? The dude wasn't doing nothing. Gotti Jr.
Yeah, he wasn't doing nothing.
No, I don't think he was doing anything. He wasn't even throwing any punches.
Ashley's Corner, what's going on? Click the link. It's at the top of the chat. Come join the panel and drop your 2 cents. Yeah, man, I think that Floyd exhibition stuff, I think it's over with. I'm not sure which market is that. Like, I don't know if the hardcore fans watching that. I don't think casuals watching it either. So I'm just curious, like, who are watching these fights?
Like
Yeah, he gonna have to step it up. I think a good exhibition would be Floyd and Manny Pacquiao. I think that could definitely spark up some interest. Both of those guys are old, they're old legends, you know what I'm saying? It'd be somewhat competitive, you know. But actually I think they would probably train a lot harder for that fight because they really would probably be trying to go at each other. You know, I know Manny would. I'm pretty sure Floyd would expect Manny to come at him, you know. So that would be a semi-competitive exhibition right there, and that could definitely make a
yeah,
lot of money.
it's
Yeah.
like really watchable because of the undercards. You know, they have real fighters on the undercard. So from that aspect, it's watchable. But the main event was trash. Like Floyd, I know he's like 40 something. He's out of shape. I mean, I could see his body the way it looked. And his reflexes are gone. Looks like his power is gone too. But at the same time, Gotti wasn't really doing anything. And yeah, it kind of looks scripted. At points when I saw them clinch, I felt like Gotti was talking to Floyd, to be honest, like
He
saying
probably
something.
was. Yeah. Well, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm not really even into that. So
No.
I'm glad somebody watched it and was able to come on here and get their 2 cents about it. So, Coach Eddie, we've been on here discussing Shakur Stevenson and Eddie Hearn and how we believe he's gonna do with promoting American black fighters and if he'll be able to turn them into superstars and what is Shakur's intention with signing with Eddie Hearn and what direction is he really trying to go in? What's your 2 cents about any of that?
Yeah, Shakur, to me, he'll never be a star. He's not. He doesn't bring enough. He doesn't bring anything to the table to me. Doesn't bring any action to the table. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Shakur just has to just want to make some money. He want to be rewarded for some things that he hadn't done yet. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be like Floyd, but Floyd has fought a lot of great fighters and he fought a lot of tough fights. You know, people keep forgetting they just looking at Floyd, money Mayweather, but they don't remember that Floyd fought guys like Chop Chop Corley, like the Drunken Master, Emmanuel Augustus Burton, fought
Yeah.
Shumbay Mitchell, he fought Jesse Lehi. Fought a lot of good fighters and he made them look ordinary. You know, he fought Diego Corrales. He fought a lot of tough guys. Shakur ain't done that, man. Dude, I don't even like Shakur, to be honest. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't like the kid. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't do anything. All he do is cry. Cry, make a bunch of excuses, and then he say, he don't like the fans and all this stuff, but he want to get paid. He ain't done nothing. He's sitting there riding off a silver medal in the Olympics, man. The Olympics is over with, man. You throw that silver medal stuff. I mean, good for you, but just because you was a medalist in the Olympics don't mean you're a great fighter. I mean, Terrell Biggs was a gold medalist. You see what happened to him? He stepped up Mike Tyson, destroyed him.
Yeah.
Breland, he probably one of the best Olympians we ever had. He had a decent career, but I mean, he was a good fighter, but he didn't pan out the way people thought he was going to pan out. So Shakur, he won't allow. He's entitled. He is a
Yeah.
representation of. He's a representation of our kids today. Entitlement.
Yeah.
Want some and hadn't really earned it yet.
Perfect. I agree. Perfect. And that's why I noticed. Besides Teach, a lot of his fans are mollycoddling him and holding him like a cradle, and saying, "Oh yeah, he's doing the right move, and it's this person's fault for him picking Cordina. It's this person's fault for him being on the undercard." No, it's not. It's his own man. It's his own choice. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely Shakur is not a star yet. By the way, Coach Eddie, Shakur is my favorite fighter. But at the same time, yeah, he's not a star. If you were to ask me who should be doing pay-per-views in boxing, my answer would be Canelo and Tank, because they're the only ones who it's pretty much bringing in profits. Besides them, like nobody else should be doing pay-per-view. Shakur right now, he just needs to build himself. If Eddie has a plan to do that, we'll see what it is. But for Shakur, moving towards Tank would be in the right direction if he wants to get that name.
I think Shakur should bet on himself. I think Shakur's a good defensive fighter and he's good, but I don't think he's ready for Tank. And personally, if he for the way he speaks, he should have betted on himself. High risk, high reward. He should have betted on himself and not went the Eddie Hearn route, because look where it's got him on a co-main event with Cordina. Wow.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, how did they even convince him to take that? At some point, like, your pride would kind of kick in. You'd be like, I'm not finna fight no Saturday afternoon. There's no co-main event. I'm trying to be a star. But I mean, obviously that's not really the goal. And that's the disconnect between the fans and Shakur that's the disconnect we're having, because we are listening to you say one thing, but we're observing you do something completely different. And it's just not going in the same direction as you saying you want to go in.
Exactly.
And then you want to downplay and call people this and that when we know, like, you're not like that. Like, the gig is up, Shakur. Like, you've been exposed, in my opinion, signing with Eddie Hearn.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if he was fighting somebody else other than Cordina or a UK fighter. Come on. But Cordina, it's like, no. And it's just that there's a lot of people trying to justify it. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it at all. Because a lot of my friends that watch boxing are absolutely laughing. So
I mean, yeah, they try to hide behind, when they get an opponent that they know is not on their level or subpar, they try to hide behind, we're getting a bag, we're getting paid for it. And not all money is good money. Not everything you should take is good for your career, or is gonna be a good look. Like, you fighting on, like, how are you moving towards Tank? How are you moving towards your biggest payday, but you're still fighting on the undercard in a Saturday afternoon? That's going backwards.
Yeah, I would have preferred him to fight somebody else. I'm not even bothered if he doesn't fight Tank, because I personally don't think he can beat Tank at all. I think Tank will knock him out personally, but he needs to fight somebody else of his elite stature, not Cordina. It's terrible.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Coach Eddie, what you think about Norman versus Ennis? What's your 2 cents about that?
I think that's a great fight. To be honest, man, I think both of those guys right there, they're the total polar opposite of Shakur Stevenson. Those dudes seem like they'll fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? And they definitely want to smoke with each other. As far as the ducking business, I think that's just Eddie Hearns just putting stuff out there just to further promote the fight, just to use the YouTube channels to promote the fight. So that's the same thing they did with the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder thing. Hopefully it doesn't take that route where they don't actually fight. But the saga with them two was they was ducking each other. One guy said, "Nah, it was Wilder ducking." The other I say, "Nah, it was AJ ducking." So it was a back and forth, and then the fight. What happened? They started losing. AJ lost, and then Wilder lost, and then we never got that fight. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can get those guys in the ring. I think that'll be a real good fight. I'm a Georgia boy. You know what I'm saying? I would be pulling for Norman, but I think Boots. I think Boots would be the favorite in that fight. I think he would be the betting favorite in that fight. Because we've seen Norman. Norman got dropped already. Norman seems to be he's a good fighter. He's not as defensively sound as Boots Ennis, though.
He needs to tighten that defense up for sure.
Yeah. He doesn't
I
have the
don't think
defense,
he's
but
ready
he's
for a big
a
fight.
dog though. He's a dog, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I feel like in terms of aggression, I feel like Norman is right there with Boots.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Greg in the building. What's going on, Mr. Greg?
because of Norman's youth and his stamina, hey, he might outwork Boots like in a phone booth fight, right? But that's the only thing that Norman has. The other thing, Boots is just overall better than him, and Boots is pretty much not going to fight one way when it comes down to it. He's going to mix it up.
Facts.
Yeah. Let's get Norman some title defenses, some more experience before we put him in there with Boots. I mean, if they want to fight, go ahead and make the fight. I'm not like, oh, they shouldn't fight, but I think it may be a better fight if he's able to get some of that stuff, more experience and more time under his belt. Because he's only 23, so he's not necessarily in his prime right now.
Well, I think the thing about that fight, Leopard can't change the spots. I've known Brian Norman Jr. since he was in the amateur. Actually, I used to go to tournaments. I seen the kid. He was, he's a tough guy here in Georgia. He was the man out here in Georgia. They ain't gonna front. A lot of guys they didn't want to fight him. He was running through everybody out here in Georgia. Because of that aggressive, relentless style. He was just a tough cookie. And as far like the Leopard's not gonna change his fight. What you see with Brian Norman, that's who he is. That's who he's gonna be 2 years from now. The same guy. You know what I'm saying? That's how he fights. So as far as getting more experience, I think with them, I think Eddie Hearns is just planting seeds right now. I think they'll probably fight in about a year or two. You know what I'm saying? But I think the move would be let those guys fight for undisputed. Let both of them get 2 belts apiece. Then y'all go ahead and fight for undisputed. Cause right now they seem like on paper that they are the 2 best guys at 147.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said. Let them fight for undisputed. If they're the 2 best guys, there's no way they're gonna make that fight right now. It just wouldn't make sense.
Build up Norman.
Carl Brown say maybe Cordina is the level Shakur is at. He just have a big mouth and not built like that at all. Mr. Greg, what's good? 2 cents. What up, Mr. Greg? Facts. Cordina was supposed to fight Shakur at 130. D-Town Funk in the building. He said we have to see the fight, bro. Fresh 313 says, Coach Eddie, what's some good boxing gyms in Atlanta?
Oh, my gym. But mine isn't exactly in Atlanta though, but it's on the metro area. But it's a lot of good gyms. Granite City, they're good. Got East Side Boxing. That's just a few. I would tell them to Google a few gyms out there.
Okay, he said Google them. Carl Brown say if people don't think Boots will beat all of them, then we can't say we think he is who we thought he was. I think he really hurt Norman more now because Norman told us his only chance to win now. Okay. Do we got anybody else that's gonna be willing to click that link to give they 2 cents? Andre Noble say Shakur is scared, right? Now. Okay, whatever that means.
Salute Andre Noble, salute.
But yeah, so I don't know, guys. That's what's going on in boxing right now. What's the next big fight coming up?
So, with the Boots and Karen fight, I'm not too mad at it. Actually, I like the fight. And the reason why I said that is because both guys they pretty much couldn't to deal with each other in the last fight. So I would want to know what both guys worked on. I want to know if Boots learned how to cut the ring off, and I want to know if Karen is going to be more offensive. Karen knows he could move. Karen knows that he could avoid Boots. The only thing that he pretty much needs to do is add a little bit more offense in that fight. Boots just cut the ring off and see what he could do with Karen.
So just cut the ring. You want to see if he'll be able to cut the ring off?
Yep.
I mean, I don't think we needed a Karen rematch to see if he can cut the ring off.
No,
But
no, I don't want to see the Karen. I don't want to see that Karen rematch. I'm not. Nah, forget that.
Carl Brown
No.
say, "Yo, I can't wait to see my boy Earl Spence Jr. get back in that ring. Real talk." You know, I don't know. I do know. I know how I feel about Earl getting back in the ring. I mean, at one point I was like, let him recover and get back in the ring. But now, as longer and more time passes by, I'm just kind of feeling like, come on, Earl, you gonna come back after another long layoff and fight another tough opponent? Like, no, I don't want to see that again.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna come back and fight Fedor. You've been off for like 18 months. You're gonna do that again? Nah, come on. But Earl's my guy. He's my favorite fighter. I mean, hey, he like it, I love it, but I just don't. I don't want to see that. I don't. I'd rather you just go ahead and retire.
Yeah, I think Errol's kind of like he's a old 34. He's like kind of like Danny Jacobs, who recently fought. You know, Danny Jacobs, he looked old in that fight, even though he's I think what Danny 35, something like that. He's a old 35, and he got beat by somebody that he would have probably destroyed in his prime. So I think that's probably what's going to happen to Errol. Because Errol just looks diminished. If you add, he's a diminished fighter. He was a diminished fighter when he fought Terrence Crawford. You know, and I like both guys in that fight. I'm a fan of both guys, but I keep it 100. You can't get thrown out of Ferrari at over 100 miles an hour and be the same guy. That changed your life forever. And that damaged him at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that the outcome would have been any different, but it surely didn't help anything.
Facts.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, it'll be different if like maybe he was finna take a tune up and then get in this Fedor fight. But you coming off a long layoff, brand new trainer. It just doesn't seem like a good idea. Not at all. Carl Brown say if Earl put on a show, watch how these dudes start talking. Just watch. I don't know about that, Carl Brown. We got to be realistic.
Well, the thing with Earl,
Miss
he
Knockout
fought
Boxing
Terrence.
86 TV. What's going on, Miss Knockout Boxing 86 TV? What'd you say, Coach Eddie?
Yeah, when Errol fought Terrence Crawford, he fought just fought the wrong way. You know what I mean? Errol's an Olympian. He knows how to point fight. But he just came in with the mentality that he was just going to steamroll Crawford. Like, see, we seen Crawford switch it up in his last fight. He switched it up when he fought Medrimov. He took it back to the amateurs. He took it back to point fighting. That's why it didn't look the same way, but he still got the job done. You know, and I think I know Errol can switch it back up to point fighting and probably beat Fedor just off of points if he, able to use his legs. Lateral movement, touch him, move, touch him, move. Because you can't steamroll everybody. And he had got so used to steamrolling everybody that he thought he was going to be able to steamroll Crawford. And then what happened once a guy gets hurt, now it's can you recover? Yeah, Errol never recovered from getting hurt. That's what makes the difference when a guy it's your recovery. Because no matter what type of skills you have, once you get hurt, can you recover physically, but also mentally? Like Shakur Stevenson, if he gets hurt, if he fights Tank Davis, that's going to ruin his career, phically and psychologically. He'll never recover from that.
If he just get knocked out,
he won't. He's already scared right now. This man, if he got knocked out.
No, he's saying that. He's saying that if Shakur gets touched, because we don't know what Shakur's like. Does he have a default?
So he's not
default?
gonna fight him then, Coach Eddie. That's what you're telling me.
No, he's saying that if Shakur was to get rocked, what's his default? Could he recover and gain composure, or will he just be like Errol Spence and be a shell of himself because you're so used to winning, you don't know what it's like to be on the receiving end?
I don't know. That's good.
Exactly. Think about how many times Floyd got hurt in his career, and he always came back strong. When Chop Corley had him dizzy on several occasions,
Yeah.
he switched it up. So told Chop, shut up and fight, and went on to stop him. You know, when Shane Mosley, almost knocked out Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather said, "You're gonna have to kill me.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to kill me." And he came out and he pitched a shutout. He beat the brakes off of Shane Mosley after that.
And
Is that same thing? Zab Judah. So many times Florida showed grit, got hurt, and came back and showed grit. When Devin Haney got hurt, Devin Haney got hurt first when he fought, what's the guy name? Linares. He danced around. But when he fought Ryan Garcia, he showed grit.
Yeah.
He may not have been smart, but he did show grit. He kept trying to win.
Do you think Devin Haney will be the same fighter?
I think so. I think he'll be a smarter. I think that fight will make him better. You know what I'm saying? Because he does have the attributes. He will just. I think Devin Haney's own arrogance got him in that. He probably overlooked Ryan Garcia, thought it was sweet, and he got caught. And you know what I'm saying? I think this fight will make him. Sometimes getting knocked out or getting beat up bad, it can either ruin a fighter or it can make him better. So we just have to time will tell. We won't know that until he gets in the ring.
Wait. I gotta know the difference between Haney and Shakur. How does this make Devin better, but it wouldn't make Shakur better?
What do you mean?
Like if he got knocked out?
Yeah, the knockout loss did.
So what he's saying I know what coach is saying. So as a fighter, because Devin Haney's been knocked down, if he was to face someone like Tank and he was to get hurt and he didn't get knocked out, it shows that he'd be able to sustain his recovery and know how to handle it. Whereas Shakur, we don't know what he'd react like. So look at Mike Tyson, for example. Mike Tyson was steamrolling people. As soon as Mike Tyson got hurt, what happened? He quit. And I actually like Mike Tyson. So that's what Coach Eddie's saying is what's your default like if you get hurt? Mayweather was like a dog. Devin Haney is a dog, he got up. Do you know what I mean? So we don't know what Shakur's default is if he was to get hurt.
I mean, the only way to tell is to see how they come back after that fight. So
Exactly.
Devin Haney hasn't done that yet. A lot of people assume that he's not going to be the same. With Shakur, he hasn't put himself in that situation yet. If it happened, I mean, then you could say, hey, is he going to be the same in his next fight? So, I mean, until that moment happens, then we could talk about it.
Me personally, I believe the best thing for Shakur is to get hurt in that fight, is to get rocked, so he can go ahead and get it out the way and start riding off this facade that he has such as goddamn defensive wizard and nobody can touch him. You know what I'm saying? That way he can go ahead and just you're a human. Yeah. All the great ones been hurt. You can't name me a fighter that's never been hurt. All of them. But Shakur is riding around. Oh, I'm Mr. Untouchable. I'm Magneto from the X-Men. Nobody can touch me. Man, get out of here with that nonsense, dude. You ain't fighting nobody, man. You're not fighting anybody, dude. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you never been hurt in boxing, you ain't fighting nobody. Period.
And the thing is with Devin, people are quick to write him off. I'm not going to write him off. I'm not a Devin Haney fan, by the way, but I'm not going to write him off because Ryan Garcia got knocked out by Tank. And then he came back and he beat Duarte in the next fight. And then he's beaten well, I wouldn't say beat. He cheated his way to Devin Haney, but everyone's still talking about him. So Devin Haney's still got a chance. It's only one loss. Well, one beat. He's not a loss actually because he's got his record back, but one adversary that he's faced.
That's a pretty tough task, man. Like I've seen Shakur take some punches. But I've never seen him put himself in a situation like where he took like a tremendous amount of damage. And he's not going to put himself in a situation like this. Like I know a lot of the fans want to see his reaction, what his reaction is going to be when he gets hurt. But again, like the mindset of these boxers, like they're not going to put themselves in that situation just to prove
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
Well, let me
fluid.
go
It happens
around
when
real
it happens.
quick. Let me go around real quick and get everybody last words. It's 6:55, so it's about that time. Y'all can come back and join me next Sunday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I will be here talking about the latest and hottest topics from the week. Teach what you got for us. Your closing statements.
Pretty much good live 2 cents, and it was good like chopping it up with everybody on the stage. Coach Eddie, Dragon. Yep. I hope to see you guys next time.
salute
All
Cheech.
right. Salute, teach. Dragon Assassin, what you got? Your last 2 cents.
Just want to say you put on a good show as usual, and yeah, I appreciate. I'm happy that Tim Bradley gave you your just due.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
you absolutely know your stuff about boxing, so salute to you, and salute to Coach Eddie, and yeah, I'll catch you next week. Peace.
All right. See you next week. Coach Eddie, close us out. What you got for the show?
oh yeah, a great show. Thank you for the platform as usual. You always run an educated panel. You let people get their opinions off whether you agree or disagree, and that's good. As far as this whole boxing thing, Shakur, great fighter. You got to prove it. You got to walk it like you're talking, so to speak. You have to put on shows that people want to see. You got to be entertaining. You got to stop alienating the fans. So at the end of the day, I know you can do what you want to do. You're a grown man, but at the end of the day, to me, the jury's still out on you. I've seen you before. Not saying you in particular, but I've seen this in boxing before. We've seen guys like Adrian Bronner. We've seen, if we can name a whole list of guys who seem to have the goods and didn't pan out. I just hope that you're not one of those guys that seem to have the good, look good on paper, but right now he hadn't had the right opponent to bring it out of him. He kind of showed what he'll do when pressed, with the De Los Santos fight, and he needs to change that. And as far as your level of opposition, this is ridiculous. If
Hey, I
you're
want to not to cut you off, but I want to write that down and talk about that next live. Like these fighters that's supposed to be so great, and then they have one big fight like a Crawford Earl Spence. Like, does that solidify their greatness, or do they need many great opponents? You know what I'm saying to kind of solidify that. But
no,
we
that,
could
that
talk
ain't.
about that next show. But I think that's a good question, a good topic of
Oh,
discussion.
yeah. It makes a difference. Your opponents and who you fight makes a difference. And to be honest, I don't think the talent levels like that, like it was. These guys don't seem to have that particular dog anymore. You got a few guys out there who seem to have it. The Brian Norman Jr., the Jerron Boozer Ennis, but that they really, really seem like they have that dog in them. The more offensive fighter. Yeah, defense is great, but offense wins fights. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people tune in to see. They tune in to see offense. They tune in to see a good fight. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
All right, Coach Eddie, thank you for coming up. Hopefully I see you next week. I'll be here 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. every Sunday. All right. Listen, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. If you're listening to the replay of this live, be sure to let me know and drop it below your 2 cents in the comments section. We had a good time today talking about Shakur Stevenson. Is he making the right moves in his career? Is Eddie Hearn going to be able to promote these Black American fighters into pay-per-view stardom, into superstardom? Is he really going to be able to do that? Should Brian Norman Jr. and Boots Ennis fight right now? Should they build a fight? Should they save it, put it on ice for an undisputed match? Let me know and drop it below your 2 cents. Let me know what you think about that. So once again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Please punch that like and subscribe button. That's one way to support the channel. If you would like to monetarily support the channel, you can hit me at Cash App at 2 cents boxing. That's 2 cents boxing with an S. It's all greatly appreciated. The like and the subscribe button are free. You can join me again next Sunday at 5 p.m. Same place, same time. You can follow me on IG at 2 cents boxing. And you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 2cents20. I'm Jay, and stay tuned for our 2 cents in the next.
Thank you.